Last week we officially completed our series on Be the Church. And for those of you who didn't go, we completed it by going to Lucedale, Mississippi, to go and experience what being the church is like. Not just within these walls here, not even within the city, but in Lucedale, in a park open to the world. 12,000 plus people gathered together to be the church together. And part of what you saw there was the good of what the church does, and the bad, a little bit of the bad, but it was real. It was who the church is. Part of how it is lived out, and part of that, the good, was when I was down during the Casting Crowns concert, and I was able to hear the music and the singing coming from all around me. That it wasn't just coming from the stage and just being people singing really good music, but it was all around me. I was able to experience that the church is about being a gathered body, about being in worship, about being real. That wasn't something that you could easily fake. That 12,000 strong who were all worshiping the Lord and thanking Him for His goodness. And for those who say anything against the church or against the gospel of Jesus Christ, they needed to be there that night to experience that. Now, part of our church, part of who we are, is that we are people, and one of the things that at the concert, it was that people didn't get out of the way, so people picking up the garbage, so it made things difficult. People talked during the concerts. If you were too far away during some of the concerts, you didn't hear it very well. But part of that was that there were many people there, I'm sure, that did not know who Jesus Christ was before they went. But they had an opportunity to experience that. And our hope is that that experience may have been a stepping stone in them becoming a member, becoming somebody who wants to be a part of the church. There's this big movement that's been talked about recently of the emergent church. A group of people who know that they want something. A group of people who know that they want to grasp towards something. And part of that answer is to come together as a community and try to grasp those answers together. It begins with doubt. It begins with doubt, as many things often do. Instead of starting with confidence, it begins with doubt. The thing is, as time goes on, we have to throw a lifeline. We have to throw a lifeline of confidence, of the truth. Some people call this apologetics. The opportunity to be able to tell people about who Jesus Christ is, where He's from, historically and spiritually. Now, this Jesus we're talking about in Matthew chapter 22, He had just dispelled the Sadducees, the first group of people that were speaking against Him. They tried to trump Him up. They tried to get Him caught up on this idea of resurrection, but they couldn't do it. So the Pharisees said, okay, it's my turn. My turn to step up. This reminds me of college, where you have your philosophy students and you have your people who just like to go around talking about the newest ideas, just like the Epicureans and the Stoics from a few weeks ago. The biggest thing is they just want to be able to try to win a debate. They want to try to win a debate, and so they will come and talk to you and try to give you a question that will stump you. And so for the Pharisees, they thought, of course, the way to stump Him is to ask Him, which is the greatest commandment in the law? We are going to get you because you are going to point out one thing. We're going to say, aha, you're fake. That's not the greatest commandment. There's another one. We'll disagree with you. So they asked Him this question, which of the commandments, which of these 613 commandments are the best one? Or is it of the 10? Which of the commandments? See, you have those two things. Is it just the 10 commandments? Which one of those? Or is it expanded beyond that? Oftentimes, they don't really want a specific answer. They don't care what you're going to say. They just try to pick apart what your answer was going to be. But Jesus may have surprised them. He came back and said, love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment. Second is like it. Love your neighbor as yourself. All the law and the prophets hang on these two commandments. They're a summary of the law. And also, it was a liturgical answer. It comes from the Shema, from the gathering that they would have whenever they would come together. It was like the beginning of the service. Just like we know what the answer is for our calls and response at the beginning of our service, the Lord be with you and also with you. They also knew this. It was responded all the time, and Jesus was giving them this answer. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind. It's a liturgical answer. It's a liturgical answer, an answer that was the right answer. They didn't have anything to say against that. Now Jesus follows up. He follows up with something that we would often like to be able to do and have that question that will stump that person, that philosophy major, that Epicurean, that Stoic. What one question can we come up with that's going to stump them? One that's going to make them wonder. Now, oftentimes we're not going to come up with that perfect question because, well, we're not God. We're not Jesus. We're not able to pull off that perfect question, and sometimes it messes us up. But in the case of Jesus, he asked them a question.